Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading Sunday worship service. My name is Andy Gotchel, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. My pronouns are he and him. We welcome you here today as we join together to create a space where we nurture and explore individual spirituality, build a committed and loving community, and help heal our world. Today's worship leader is Reverend Fred Small, a Unitarian Universalist pastor, singer, songwriter, and former environmental lawyer. Reverend Small serves as Minister for Climate Justice at the Arlington Street Church in Boston. He'll be preaching for us monthly during this church year. If this is your first time with us, we're happy you have joined us. I invite you to visit our webpage to learn more about our beloved community. There you can connect with our staff, or for those of us here in the sanctuary this morning, please come speak to any one of us you see up here on the chancel following the service. We'll be in Fellowship Hall, along with everyone else gathering for social hour. Please stay and join us there for refreshments and conversation.
Light within all light, soul behind all souls, at the break of dawn, at the coming of day. We wait and watch. Your light within the morning light, your soul within the human soul, your presence beckoning to us from the heart of life. In the dawning of this day, let us know fresh shinings in our soul. In the growing colors of new beginning all around us, let us know the first lights of our heart. Great star of the morning, inner flame of the universe, let us be a color in this new dawning.
As we light our chalice this morning with Unitarian Universalists all around the globe, I invite you to call into your heart the flame we kindle this morning, the flame of truth, of community, of commitment to love and to justice. Please join me in reciting our chalice lighting words, which can be found on laminated sheets with the hymnals behind the pews and in the order of service. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek. Okay, I'm going to need help on this. And each week we recite our children's affirmation as a reminder of the most important elements of who we are. Will any young people who like to come up and join me in reciting these words and showing me the hand motions? Ethan, oh, there you are.
One more.
Okay, one this side or that side? Okay, ready? We are Unitarian Universalists, Church of the Open Mind, loving heart, and helping hands.
Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. That's your part. Bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. Please rise in body or in spirit. This song began as a beautiful, kind of sleepy Appalachian hymn. It's in our hymnal. You may know it. Bright morning stars arising. Court Dorsey took this traditional hymn to the Seabrook Nuclear Power demonstrations back in the day. He chopped the S off the stars, and it's now Bright Morning Star Arising, and it's a kind of movement anthem. I added some verses because I'm a folk singer, and that's what I do. Please give it a try. Bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. There's some wonderful harmonies to be found in this song, and I love what Pete Seeger used to say about harmony. He would say, don't be afraid of harmony. Harmony is any note that your neighbor isn't singing. So feel free to give it a try. Bright morning star. Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul for justice and compassion. For justice and compassion, for justice and compassion, for justice and compassion, days a breaking in my soul, for peace in every nation. For peace in every nation, for peace in every nation, for peace in every nation, days a breaking in my soul, for the healing of creation, 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 days a breaking in my soul, for the future of our children. For the future of our children, for the future of our children, for the future of our children, days a breaking in my soul. Last time, bright morning star. Bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, bright morning star arising, days a breaking in my soul. Beautiful singing. Have a seat. For the time for all ages, I invite the children to come forward, or anyone feeling particularly young at heart this morning. Good morning. Would you like to climb trees? Maybe, yes, yes, I got a yes and a maybe. So when the weather's nice, do you ever lie under a tree and look up at the sky? It's supposed to be on, it's green. All is well. So when the weather's nice, do you ever lie underneath the leaves of a tree and look up at the sky through the branches and the leaves? You ever done that? Got a shrug and a maybe. I loved it. I used to do that as a kid, and I still love to do that. It's so beautiful because you got the blue sky, if it's blue or whatever color it is at the moment, and maybe the sunshine filtering through the leaves. I don't know, it's magical to me. Now, how would you like to be a tree? What do you think? Yeah. Yeah, longevity is appealing to our friend here. So for just a few minutes this morning, we're going to imagine what it might be like to be a tree. So this is a guided meditation that I've adapted from the work of Mara Freeman, and I invite the grown-ups to participate as well. So I ask you to close your eyes, if that feels okay. And if you let go of that help you to relax. Just like be very good. So if you're holding on to something, just set it down, literally and figuratively, as the case may be. And take a deep breath. Deep breath in. And as you let your breath out, imagine you are a tree sending a long, deep taproot down into the earth underneath you. And now that taproot, the big root at the center, it starts sending out smaller roots in all directions, spreading all around you. The tips of those roots pushing their way between the soil and the stones, anchoring you to the earth. Every time you breathe out, send energy into all those roots. Feel your strength as a tree, deeply rooted in the earth. Now feel all of those roots drinking in water and food from the soil. And when you breathe in all the energy of the earth. And as you grow, all around you are grass and flowers and animals brushing past, birds landing on your branches, squirrels curled in the hollows of your trunk. Now feel your branches reaching up and outward into the air, reaching to the sky. Feel your smaller branches and leaves swaying in the breeze. Feel your leaves turning toward the sun, receiving its warmth and light. Feel the rain washing you clean. Feel the turning of the seasons and the slow cycles of the years and decades. And now, come back to your life here as a human being, sitting in church or at home. But remember the spirit of the tree. Remember that you are rooted in the center of your world, held in the embrace of earth and sky. And now, if the children want to enjoy free play at the Sawyer House, now's the time, and their parents or caregivers can accompany them there, or folks can stay in the sanctuary as you wish. Thanks so much for meditating like a tree. We take time during our service to light our candles of community, peace, and justice. We light our red candle of community to signify our interconnection. Wherever you are in time and space, newcomer or longtime member, here in the sanctuary or joining us virtually, we light this candle, holding you in love. As we light this candle, I invite you to speak aloud the name or names of people who are on your mind and heart today, to bring them fully into this space. Hernan. We light our blue candle of peace for the multitude of places worldwide where people live with the threat of war and violence. We especially acknowledge those in Palestine who daily face the terror of starvation and relentless destruction. As we light our yellow candle of justice, may all people everywhere live their lives in freedom, and may we each do our part in the work for justice and liberation for all in our global community. As we recommit ourselves to the work of love and justice, may we each voice this commitment by saying, Amen. The words of Steve Garnis Holmes are not where I thought they were in my notebook, but hopefully I will find them momentarily. And here they are. Spirit of life, Holy One, essence and breath of all that is. Take my fear and let it become wonder. Take my grief and let it become compassion. Take my doubt and let it become courage. Take my self-centeredness and let it become love. Take my broken heart and let it become my strength. Amen. We come together today with full hearts, whether you are celebrating a joy or triumph or feeling the heaviness of loss and grief. You are invited to come forward and light a candle in recognition of your place in this community, that no matter what your heart may hold this day, you are loved, and we are here for you.
There we go here. Okay. This morning's reading is an untitled poem by Joy Harjo, who is a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation and former United States Poet Laureate. Once I traveled far above the earth. This beloved planet we call home was covered with an elastic web of light. I watched in awe as it shimmered, stretched, dimmed, and shined, shaped by the collective effort of all within it. Dissonance attracted more dissonance. Harmony attracted more harmony. I saw revolutions, droughts, famines, and the births of new nations. The most humble kindnesses made the brightest lights. Nothing was wasted.
I knew a man once who tried to save a tree. It was a magnificent red oak planted in the 19th century through numberless winters, springs, summers, falls. Its roots had penetrated deep into the soil, and its trunk had grown tall and strong. Generations of families and friends and lovers had gathered gratefully in the shade of its broad canopy. And the man loved the tree and held it sacred. But the tree grew close to a building, and one day the owners of the building decreed that the building would be improved and expanded. The tree would have to be cut down, they said. And so the man who loved the tree wrote letters and social media posts to try and change their minds. He organized others and enrolled political leaders in his cause. Save the tree, they cried. The owners were unmoved. It's true, they said, the tree is old and beautiful, but it's actually not in very good health. It's going to die soon anyway. Besides, they said, we have no choice. We've examined every alternative, and none is practical within our budget. The tree must go. Outraged, the man assailed their motives and integrity. His letters and posts grew more acerbic and sarcastic. At last, his belligerence and ill temper drove away even people who also cared about the tree and might have helped save it. And so the tree was cut down. And all who saw its severed limbs couldn't help noticing how healthy they looked. And the man cursed the owners for their stupidity and short-sightedness. This good man who loved trees so profoundly and so passionately had not learned from them. His feverish, frenetic activism was nothing at all like a tree. He championed the sacredness of trees while neglecting the sacredness of human beings, including his own. He knew the worth of trees, but not the peace of trees. Don't we all make the same mistake, at least some of the time? More than half a century ago, the Trappist monk and peace activist Thomas Merton warned, there is a pervasive form of contemporary violence to which the idealist most easily succumbs: activism and overwork. The rush and pressure of modern life are a form, perhaps the most common form, Burton said, of its innate violence. To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything, is to succumb to violence. The frenzy of our activism, Merton said, neutralizes our work for peace. It destroys our own inner capacity for peace. It destroys the fruitfulness of our own work because it kills the root of inner wisdom, which makes work fruitful. The frenzy of our activism destroys our inner capacity for peace and the fruitfulness of our work. Actually, Thomas Merton was lucky. He died before Twitter. Twitter, now technically X, Twitter, that twilight zone of snark, contempt, occasional inspiration, and permanent outrage, where I, for one, have wasted far too much of my time. It's easy to be punitive and make others disposable, cautioned Tom DeWolf and Jody Geddes in The Little Book of Racial Healing. The difficult task, they say, is in telling the truth in ways that seek healing and transformation. We are beset today by a host of daunting challenges, all of them urgent and interconnected, many seemingly intractable, from patriarchy to white supremacy, from public corruption to secret abuse, from anti-Semitism to Islamophobia to transphobia, from gun violence to armed insurrection to all-out war, from mass incarceration to mass extinction. It is natural for us to feel grief, anger, fear, and despair. I am a climate justice activist. Despair, is my constant companion. By now, it's almost an old friend. It seems every new report coming from the scientists is even more alarming than the last. As Lily Tomlin once observed, things are going to get worse before they get worse. The New York Times has reported that the Environmental Protection Agency, now we have to put parenthesis, sick, close parenthesis, is planning to eliminate all limits on greenhouse gases from coal and gas-fired power plants. The new EPA administrator, appointed by President Trump, has promised to drive, quote, a dagger straight into the heart of the climate change religion, unquote. But whoever is in the White House, whoever controls Congress in this political system, in this economy, in this culture, the chasm between what climate science demands and what our politics permits is likely to persist for a long time. The realization that it's too late to prevent significant global warming, too late even to prevent vast suffering, has had a surprising effect on me. Instead of making me more anxious and agitated, somehow it has calmed and steadied me. For decades as a climate activist, I felt like I was in a rowboat above a thundering waterfall, rowing frantically to keep from going over the falls. Well, the boat is going over the falls. We are plummeting, tumbling, crashing into the unknown at vertiginous speed, and yet somehow at the same time, in slow motion, terrible things are happening. Terrible things will happen. Millions will suffer and die, with the worst impacts upon those least responsible for the problem, people of color and people living in poverty all around the world. But it is never too late to save the next life, or the next community, or the next species. Never too late to feed the hungry or welcome the stranger. It's never too late to do the next right thing. I vow to do all I can to reduce the suffering, to tend to the wounded, to build a more just world. But since I believe it is too late to head off catastrophe, I am resolved to do these things mindfully, with love and compassion and tenderness and generosity of spirit. Because given the certainty of suffering, the how of what we do is as important as the what, or even the when. As we plunge headlong into the maelstrom, even more important than the question, what am I going to do, is the question, who am I going to be? Our climate future is not binary. Everything's going to be wonderful. No, everything's going to be terrible. Ecotopia, dystopia. The future will almost certainly have elements of both. And where the balance between them falls will depend upon an infinite number of choices. My choices and your choices and the choices of our children and their children and their children. We don't know what's going to happen. I hope that the human species survives the crisis we have created. But whether or not we do, we know that life on Earth has already survived 5 major extinctions. Life will endure, and intelligent life will continue to evolve with luck and the grace of God, not only smarter, but also wiser, kinder, more compassionate. As we confront this crisis, Potawatomi botanist, there we go, Robin Wall Kimmerer reminds us, we don't have to figure out everything by ourselves. There are intelligences other than our own, teachers all around us. If we understood that, imagine how less lonely the world would be. So as we struggle to save our trees, what can we learn from them? First of all, hydrate. We can also learn patience. When we're in mortal danger, patience can be hard to cultivate. Trees can help us. Trees take the long view. They have to. Many live hundreds, even thousands of years, as our young friend was thinking about this morning. Longevity counsels patience. By patience, explains Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron, we do not mean enduring, grin and bear it. In any situation, instead of reacting suddenly, we could chew it, smell it, look at it, and open ourselves to seeing what's there. The journey of patience, Chodron says, involves relaxing, opening to what's happening, experiencing a sense of wonder. To be patient means to slow down. On an exposed cliffside in the Canadian Great Lakes is a white cedar that has taken 155 years to reach the towering height of 4 inches. That's taking it slow. Even when a tree is under threat, it responds slowly. When a caterpillar begins to chew on an oak leaf, it can take an hour before defensive compounds reach the leaf to repel the pest. The hectic pace of humans takes a toll on our activism, our relationships, and our souls. We can be peaceful in our fervor, insists Charles Eisenstein, and patient in our urgency. You know, if your religion doesn't embrace paradox, maybe it's time to find a new religion. In a society hyped up on hyper-individualism, trees remind us of the interdependence of all beings. Far from the solitaries they can sometimes appear, trees are deeply embedded and active in a community of interconnection, which forest ecologists sometimes playfully call the wood wide web. Whether by interlacing root systems, fungal networks, or release of chemical scents, trees warn each other of harmful insects and other threats. They can even share nutrients with each other. According to ecologist and Tsimshian native Dr. Teresa Ryan, when a tree in a warming forest dies, it donates its carbon not to its own offspring or even to others of the same species, but to the newest arrivals in the forest, those most likely to survive as temperatures increase. A bequest of generosity akin to altruism. Trees model for us the power of commitment, of choosing to be rooted in one place. Because when a seed takes root, it makes a lifelong commitment to that very spot. There it must adapt or die. Our commitments need not be absolute, but they call us to strive and to struggle, to honor our relationships, our communities, and our principles. Commitment demands persistence. Trees persist through high winds, torrential rains, heavy snowstorms that bend their branches, and ice storms that break them. If you've ever seen a tree clinging to seemingly naked rock, its root tips stretching to every particle of soil, sucking in the tiniest droplets of moisture, you know what persistence looks like. Trees teach us to live with loss. Every fall, deciduous trees surrender their leaves to the forest floor, enriching the soil not only for themselves, but for all who share their ecosystem. And trees endure the deaths of their companions from wind, fire, storm, disease, logging, and old age. Trees embody the perfection of imperfection. Admiring an old maple in Connecticut, I was struck by its sinuous beauty. As I looked more deeply, I realized its beauty lay precisely in its irregularity, its imperfection. Had it been perfectly straight, perfectly uniform, perfectly symmetrical, it would have been grotesque. Only human beings make things that way. God knows better. Maybe I too could accept my imperfections as a mark of beauty. We teach what we most need to learn. But when I spend time with trees, I sense their humility, their kindness, their love. I used to think it was anthropomorphic to ascribe human attributes to non-human beings, but I no longer think so. Actually, I think it's anthropocentric to think so. We are all sentient beings. We know that plants feel pain and distress. Why shouldn't trees, in their own way, feel love? If you doubt that, I invite you to spend more time with trees, touching their bark, gazing up at their leaves, and just listening. Trees have been among my wisest and most reliable teachers. As a child, Howard Thurman, who would grow up to become one of the great preachers of the 20th century and a spiritual advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. As a child, he discovered a unique relationship, he called it, with an oak tree in his backyard in Daytona Beach, Florida. I could sit my back against its trunk, he recalled, and reach down in the quiet places of my spirit, take out my bruises and my joys, unfold them, and talk about them. I could talk aloud to the oak tree and know that I was understood. It too was part of my reality, like the woods, the night, and the pounding surf, my earliest companions, giving me space. Today, we need love more than ever. Climate and racial justice advocate Mary Anais Hagler confesses that love is what keeps her going. I don't mean any simple, sappy kind of love, she declares. I mean living, breathing, heart-beating love, wild love. This love is not a noun, she is an action verb. She can shoot stars into the sky. She can spark a movement. She can sustain a revolution. I love this beautiful, mysterious, complicated planet we get to call home. I love that nighttime symphony on steamy southern nights when the crickets sing and the owls hunt. I love the delicate feel of honeysuckle petals and the warm, grainy earth and dewy grass on my bare feet. This love is strong enough to break through the terror. She is hot enough to burn through anger and turn into fury. She can shake you out of your despair and propel you to the front of the battlefield. It's a love that can also, even in the teeth of these most insurmountable odds, give me hope. If I'm brave enough to accept it. As for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. But love never ends. I let the trees have the last word with the assistance of their friend and interpreter, the late poet, Mary Oliver. Now, of course, we Unitarian Universalists don't have saints, but if we did, I suspect Mary Oliver would be right up there. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. Amen.
Okay. Got to make sure you can understand me for this part. You know? Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Each Sunday, UUCR gives away half the money received in the collection plate to a nonprofit organization that shares our UU values. It's a simple yet powerful way for each of us to help heal the world by learning about and supporting the good works of charitable organizations and becoming more involved in our community. Our Share the Plate recipient for the month of September is the Mass Union of Public Housing Tenants. The Mass Union of Public Housing Tenants is the first statewide public housing tenants organization in the nation, working to fight homelessness and make public housing in Massachusetts safe and sanitary and free of racism and classism, where all tenants are informed, empowered, heard, respected, and valued. Our congregation survives and thrives through the gifts of those who call this place their spiritual home. If you're here with us in the sanctuary, you may put your gift in the plate as it goes by. Otherwise, you can make a gift online or send a check. Please give as generously as you're willing and able to our Share the Plate offering to support the Mass Union of Public Housing Tenants and the mission of UUCR. If this is your first time with us, please let the plate pass you by. Your presence is gift enough.
Good morning, friends. I'm Melissa Martin, your Member Services and Volunteer Coordinator, and my pronouns are she and her. Thank you, Reverend Fred, for being with us today and for all who contributed to this morning's worship service. Our tech team, Robin and Bob, our ushers, Martha, Ann, and Angela, and our worship art support, Andy, Charles, and Rob, and to Beth for the beautiful music. Beth actually has a very good announcement that she would like to share with us, so she's going to come up momentarily, so bear with us for one moment.
I have some great news. I first want to precede the news with thanking the hiring team, some of whom are here. Drew was certainly involved. Are there other people from Bob? Hi. Anyway, this tireless team, as you know, worked all summer, and I'm very happy to report that the Reverend Dr. Althea Smith has accepted the role of our pastoral care minister. She is an ordained UU minister with a wealth of skills and experience, including a PhD in clinical community psychology and licensure as a registered nurse. Yeah, so if you have a paper cut, come to me. Reverend Althea is also a wonderful listener, a keen observer. Her open heart informs her ministry as she works to abolish injustice and inequities in our community, our country, and the world. You'll be able to meet Reverend Althea in person at our congregational meeting, which is scheduled for October 19. So you can meet her then.
Thank you, Beth, for all your hard work and for everyone who made that possible. I also share an announcement on behalf of Reverend Fred. Last Wednesday morning in Malden, masked ICE agents violently arrested Edgar Hernan Elias Escobar while he was on his way to work. Married to a U.S. citizen with no criminal record and responsible for the care of his elderly mother, Hernan has filed his paperwork for citizenship, but is now in imminent danger of deportation to El Salvador. At 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, we are invited to join the rally at Malden City Hall, seeking Hernan's release from detention and a stay of deportation. If you are able, please join us. I'm going to ask you for your grace as I get through our congregational life. It's a busy morning. I will talk fast, but the newsletter has all of the details. It's hard to believe, but 6 weeks until our Kris Kringle Fair preparations take off. So please keep an eye on the newsletter. We do accept jewelry from our jewelry elves so they can prepare it, and you can see all of the details about that in our newsletter. Make sure to save the date for Saturday, November 8th, where this beautiful quilt will be raffled off as well. In this week's invitations of our congregational life, we have a few, but please look at the update from our Love is a Verb team. There's always something more we can do. You'll also find ways for you to become more connected in church life through Sunday morning roles, religious education events. And if you scroll to the very bottom of every newsletter, you'll find lots of helpful links. Tomorrow, our Buddhist meditation will meet only via Zoom. Thank you, Ken. Because our church will be used by Rabbi Bart Perlman and the Havurah for their Jewish New Year celebrations. All are welcome, and may those who practice have a good and sweet New Year. There's no choir rehearsal this week, but please reach out to Bonnie if you are feeling the pull to share in our music ministry. This Saturday, every member of the church is invited to engage with the future leaders of our congregation for our Kids and Youth Teacher Training Day. Find all those details in the newsletter. Next Sunday, join our worship service led by the guest minister, Reverend Wendy Bell, and our children are going to participate in their very first Kids Community Day. Quick note, in 2 weeks, please plan to join us for a special morning. Reverend Evan Carville-Zeimer, our regional representative of the UUA, will be preaching their sermon titled Spirituality of Change, and we will be welcoming new members. So please be there for this service. And Evan will be offering a workshop, communicating with each other at home, at work, at church, and with family. The workshop is offered in support of the developmental goals of the congregation leadership set for our congregation. For today, stay and socialize during our social hour immediately after service. And then if you feel called, you can join me here in the sanctuary for our first spirituality drop-in group on building belonging, a one-time social gathering. Thank you, each of you, for being a vital part of our congregational life, and I invite Reverend Fred back to the pulpit to teach us our final piece of the music, Tree of Life.
Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Please rise in body or in spirit. This song was written by Guy Carawan, inspired by the spirituality of the Carolina Sea Islands. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Give it a try. Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Same tune. So rocky the road, so rocky the road, so dangerous the journey, so dangerous the journey, but we got a right, but we got a right. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? We come from a distance. We come from a distance. We come from a distance, and we got a right, and we got a right. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Our lives will be sweeter. Our lives will be sweeter. Our lives will be sweeter, 'cause we got a right. Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Now, before the pandemic, I would always invite people to join hands and sing the chorus one last time. Are we post-pandemic or not? I have no idea. But there are many reasons why you might not want to join hands with somebody, all kinds of reasons. Your body, your choice. You do not have to join hands with anybody if you don't want to. Even if somebody, some hand-holding zealot runs up and says, "Come on, what's wrong with you?" Just say, "I don't have to join hands. Thank you very much. I don't need to. It's all good." Okay? So if you feel comfortable joining hands with the person next to you, please do so. Otherwise, do not under any circumstances. Okay, we're clear. Last time, ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right? Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Ain't you got a right? 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 Ain't you got a right to the tree of life? Please be seated or stand. I don't know what your practice is, but some people were sitting down and I didn't want them to feel weird. So Enjoy, whatever your practice is. And let us join in extinguishing the chalice and speaking the words in your order of service, which some of you know by heart. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. The closing words by Stephanie Kaza. Let go of the place that holds. Let go of the place that flinches. Let go of the place that controls. Let go of the place that fears. Listen. The wind is breathing in the trees. Moving through the dark night, I practice courage, accepting the vastness of what I cannot see.